called upon to fight tonight. Build proficiency for countering potential surveillance.
They are the only U.S. Army Division headquarters permanently stationed overseas.
Counter weapons of mass destruction, or CWM.
Stationed on the Korean Peninsula over half the century-long history, they are the 2nd Infantry Division.
Operational environment with potential real-world CWM.
Fighting hand-in-hand with ROK forces during the Korean War and the high tension of the DMZ. The ROK U.S. Combined Division. There is no other partnership like this in the world, having two nations combined to create one division. In that strong alliance, we have the 2nd Infantry Division.
We go together. 같이 갑시다.
Let's look into the undefeated 100 years history of them advancing at battlefields with the Indian head patch on. Last June, the deployment rotation conducted a ceremony on Camp Humphreys.
ROK U.S. Combined Forces Command. Colonel Jonathan.
At the same time, the 1st Combat Armored Brigade of the 1st Infantry Division, which had been stationed in Korea, returned to the U.S. mainland after completing their mission. The 2nd Combat Armored Brigade of the 1st Cavalry Division from the U.S. will come to Korea for 9 months to carry out the mission. The rotational deployment system of the U.S. troops is to familiarize the troops who will be reinforcing in times of contingency with the military environment that they will actually be fighting in. It is the most basic and most important system for close cooperation between the two countries.
We understand our mission. We are ready to fight tonight. We are fully integrated with our ROK counterparts. And we are very experienced here in the Republic of Korea of integrating new units. It's a very good byproduct of rotational units as we exercise units coming onto the peninsula.
The 2nd Infantry Division is the core force of the 8th Army Subordinate Ground Forces with a size of about 12,000 soldiers. The U.S. 2nd Infantry Division maintains the highest level of readiness even among U.S. military forces, consisting of a combat aviation brigade with Apaches and Blackhawks, a field artillery brigade, and a rotational armored brigade combat team with Bradley fighting vehicles. The 2nd Infantry Division is the last unit to be permanently forward deployed and is the symbol of the U.S. ROK alliance that has been stationed on the Korean Peninsula for the last 52 years. A park located in the middle of Chicago. Despite the sweltering heat of August, gray-haired veterans gathered.
Okay. I was in Korea in 1967, 1968, and I was an E4 Specialist 4th Class.
My name is Patricia Thompson. I was in Korea at Camp Casey and Camp Hovey.
They are members of the Central U.S. Veterans Association. They have come here despite their senior age to participate in this meaningful event. Although it was brief, they provided the greatest courtesy and formality they could.
the 2nd Infantry Division and nation since 1917.
Since 1917, established in the midst of World War I, this monumental ceremony honors those who have been active throughout the world as members of the 2nd Infantry Division. Johnny Vargas is a former member of the 38th Regiment, the 2nd Infantry Division. Being a veteran of the Korean War, Johnny still keeps the memories in Korea in his heart.
2011 to 2017. We used to always talk about stars, many stars and battles, what we've been through. And it's it's funny, but the fellas that are gone, I think about all of them through my sergeants.
To them, the 2nd Infantry Division is both a place they devoted a part of their youth and a place of pride.
The division is always ready to fight tonight, and they have been since 1917, and they will be going forward. And the 2nd Division has got the finest soldiers in the Army and in the world.
The Warrior March includes the century-long history and pride of the 2nd Infantry Division, including its foundation in 1917 and the division of the Korea Peninsula, symbolized by the DMZ. In 1914, a gunshot rang through the Balkans that changed the fate of the world. With 35 countries from all around the world related to this war that lasted more than 4 years, there was a level of viciousness committed by humankind that the world hadn't yet experienced. At that time, the United States had not participated in war in Europe. But as the British ocean liner RMS Lusitania gets torpedoed by the German U-boat while carrying Americans, public opinion in the United States against Germany shifted. Germany did not want the United States to join the war and sent a telegram to entice Mexico to attack the United States, thus keeping the U.S. from joining the war. However, this telegram was intercepted. Finally, on April 6, 1917, President Woodrow Wilson declared war. One of the battlegrounds of World War I, located in eastern France, lays Beaumont. Here, in 1917, when the war was in full swing, the 2nd Infantry Division was founded. At that time, the U.S. did not have a proper division, TO&E, so the 1st Infantry Division was the only one to be dispatched from the mainland. With infantry, marines, and field artillery together, the comprehensive combat troop 2nd Infantry Division was formed overseas.
The significance of the division's formation in 1917, again, it's unique in the United States Army's history because the division consisted of Marine units and Army units.
Soldiers of the division actually created the Indian Head Patch. Commander John A. Lejeune, who later became the Commandant of the Marine Corps, was also called as Old Indian Head. In March 1918, Germany moved its soldiers from the Eastern Front to the Western Front for an all-out war known as the Spring Offensive. German troops advanced without a hitch to the Marne River in order to take Paris. The 2nd Infantry Division started their first battle at Belleau Wood, near Marne River. U.S.-French troops together secured Paris from Germany. Seizing the chance to victory, the Allied forces started the 100 Days Offensive at the Argonne Forest to make the Germans call for a full retreat. Including the 2nd Infantry Division, it was the biggest commitment of the U.S. Army during World War I. The U.S. Allied forces troops made their way through the German trenches, and the Germans, having nowhere to retreat, finally surrendered.
The 2nd Infantry Division during the First World War was the most highly decorated division of all United States Army divisions. During the conflict, the division received 14 Medal of Honors. The 2nd Infantry Division was an integral part of the Allies' victory during the First World War, and it could not have been done without the sacrifice of those given the last full measure.
Just 21 years after World War I, not even being enough time for the scars of the war to go away, the Second World War broke out. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor once again brought the U.S. back into World War.
With the dropping of the bombs and the attack on Pearl Harbor, the division was then transferred to Wisconsin, where it would serve at the winter training and get ready for the rigors of the European Theater of Operations. The division landed at D+1, 1944, June the 7th, and fought in all the major campaigns of the European Theater of Operations.
June 6, 1944, the turning point of World War II. Operation Overlord was in action. Mobilizing more than 6,000 vessels, 13,000 planes, and 176,000 soldiers from 7 divisions, the action landed on Normandy. June 7, 1944. Despite the bad weather, the 2nd Infantry Division landed on Normandy a day after the D-Day. Among the 5 landing points, Omaha Beach was the landing point for the 2nd Infantry Division. Other landing points being comparatively poor defense, however, what awaited the 2nd Infantry Division was the German Elite Corps, 352nd Infantry Division. They had MG-42 machine guns and 105mm howitzers firing indiscriminately. Omaha was the battleground of the most intense battles of Normandy invasion. Of the 34,000 U.S. troops deployed in the landing, over 1,200 were killed in the Omaha battle alone. The 38th Infantry's regiment's 18-year-old Private Vincent Ceylon was also present during the making of this history. Omaha was the battleground of the most intense battles of the Normandy invasion, and the monument remains to testify of that day.
Le 7 juin, les bateaux sont arrivés avec la 2e division et la 2e division s'est regroupée ici afin de prendre le chemin qui était là pour pouvoir monter sur la colline et attaquer plus loin où les Allemands étaient encore.
The slope that the 2nd Infantry Division marched at the time is named as Dargolles Road. Dargolles Road is a road dedicated to Bernard Dargolles by city. He was a warrior of the 2nd Infantry Division who contributed significantly during World War II, including the Normandy invasion. Bernard Dargolles, 97 years old this year, was on a brief visit to the States when he witnessed the outbreak of World War II. He went so far as to receive a physical examination to join the French army.
Voilà, on va vous rapatrier. Entre-temps, j'étais au cinéma à New York. Et au cinéma, il y avait ce qu'on appelle les actualités, le newsreel, vous savez. Et j'ai vu Pétain et Hitler se serrer la main. Et quand j'ai vu ça, je me suis dit, jamais je vais rentrer en France pour servir sous Pétain. Voilà, ça c'est d'origine. Et j'ai voulu m'engager dans l'armée américaine.
Mr. Dargolles became an American to join the U.S. Army, was assigned to the intelligence branch, and soon embarked on a ship of an amphibious operation in England. The information he gleaned became important assets for subsequent operations.
Quand j'avais tous ces renseignements, je revenais et je faisais mon rapport pour éviter de bombarder des buildings, des immeubles français, mais de bombarder et de tuer des Français, mais de bombarder exactement ce qu'il fallait, quoi.
After the success of the Normandy invasion, the Allies, including the 2nd Infantry Division, marched toward Germany. On December 16, 1944, Germany's Ardennes counteroffensive, the so-called Battle of the Bulge, began. Ambush and blitzkrieg using the thick winter fogs of Ardennes forest was Hitler's last major offensive campaign. During that time, the 2nd Infantry Division was holed up at Elsenborn Ridge, located at the border area of Germany and Belgium.
Au début de la bataille des Ardennes, la 2e division était en repos à Elsenborn. C'est un camp militaire belge et même allemand pendant la guerre. Ils étaient en repos là-bas. Et alors, quand arrivait la bataille des Ardennes, quand elle débutait, ils étaient les premiers à rentrer au front et à défendre Rochrath et Elsenborn. Ce sont aussi deux villages qui étaient vraiment des endroits clés de la bataille des Ardennes.
The Rochrath village and the Wallerscheid crossroad were key points for both the Allied forces and German forces. The battle destroyed everything.
Oui, de ce côté-ci, c'est l'histoire du village. On voit très bien la maison, c'est même la maison qui est juste en face, a été reconstruite. Oui. Et ici au-dessus, on voit une position anti-aérienne, c'était l'ancienne église. Et ça, c'est fort possible que ce sont des soldats de la 2e division d'infanterie américaine.
The 2nd Infantry Division joined together with the 99th Infantry Division and defended the road to Antwerp. They succeeded on interrupting Germany's final advance. The sacrifice for peace was great.
Oui, c'est le tombe de Private First Class Jahr. Elle était du 9e régiment d'infanterie de la 2e division d'infanterie. Et il est mort ici le 13 décembre. Et les Américains, ils ont perdu, je vais retrouver ça par vétéran, ils ont perdu 737 hommes qu'ils ont perdus dans la bataille ici et au retrait vers Rochrath.
St. Vith, Belgium, the place where the 2nd Infantry Division had to defend without fail during the Battle of the Bulge. St. Vith was a geographically strategic point as it linked Western Europe with the roads and railways in Germany, France, and Luxembourg.
Vith a été déjà à partir du Moyen-Âge une forteresse et était toujours un lieu de rencontre pour les marchés. Donc les gens sont venus ici à Vith pour faire du commerce. Mais dans la Deuxième Guerre mondiale notamment, Vith était vraiment aussi un champ de bataille entre les troupes allemandes et les troupes américaines.
St. Vith was also greatly damaged. All houses here, with the exception of 6, were destroyed. The Buchel Tower is about the only thing that remains of the medieval city now. Despite the numerous sacrifices, the 2nd Infantry Division succeeded in defending St. Vith. The 2nd Infantry Division marched towards the river line, and the Allied forces' front line was expanded to Germany's mainland. Germany's front line was irrecoverable. After a few more defeats, Hitler's last resort ended in failure. Soon after, the Pacific Front as well had come to an end. The most devastating war in human history had come to an end. More than 50 million people lost their lives during the war. Peace and freedom cost them the life. 67 years ago, Mr. Kalu and Mr. Caprichor were comrades who went through life and death situations together. Mr. Kalu enlisted in 1948, going through basic training. Mr. Caprichor was a young man who was worried about his future after graduation from high school.
I was sitting in a bar on a Sunday afternoon when the TV was on and they said, South Korea has been invaded. And one World War II guy was sitting there and he said, well, here we go again. Number one, I did not know anything about Korea.
Only 5 years had passed since the end of World War II. The Korean War broke out in the midst of the ideological war and the Cold War. In this imminent situation, the United States decided to commit ground troops to Korea.
We didn't get involved with why we were there.
I had an uncle who served in World War II. And I think we grew up envying our fathers, uncles, older brothers who served in the military. And we wanted to be part of that experience. I think most of my high school classmates joined the Army. I know 3 of them served in Korea between the wars.
Stationed at Kyushu, Japan, the 24th Infantry Division, being closest to the Korean Peninsula, was sent first to land on Busan. Even with America's immediate intervention to the Korean Peninsula, the front line kept being pushed south. After World War II, the 2nd Infantry Division was at mainland being trained in case of an emergency situation. It was decided that the 2nd Infantry Division would be committed to the Korean Peninsula. July 1950, soldiers of the 2nd Infantry Division arrived at Busan Port.
2nd Infantry Division was ready, and it became the first division that came directly from the United States to the Korean Peninsula. It found itself at the Naktong perimeter. There, it relieved in place the 24th ID, which had been the 1st Division brought over during the Korean War.
But the sight that unfolded before their eyes was abject misery.
Of Korea. My first impression was it was very war-torn. Buildings were all blown up, all torn down. And the people had very little to eat, very few clothes.
I saw a woman in a rice paddy. She's shot, and a baby was shot. And this brutality.
As soon as the 2nd Infantry Division arrived at Korea, they were put in a defensive fight at Hyungpyeong, Yongsan, Naktong River.
낙동강 방어전은 미군들도 전력이 불충분하고 한국군도 정비가 잘 안 돼 있어서 북한군에게는 최대의 기회였고 이 낙동강 방어선 자체는 굉장히 위험한 방어선이었는데 이 사람들의 어떤 노력과 또 어떤 열정에 의해서 위험한 구역들을 방어를 해내죠. 그래서 거의 뚫리기 직전의 상황에서 방어를 해내는데 그때 뚫렸으면 부산까지 밀렸을 거다.
September 15, 1950. After the U.S. 10th Army succeeded in Operation Chromite, they advanced towards Seoul and Suwon. The 2nd Infantry Division left the Naktong River line and they advanced north. In early October, most of the troops breached the 38th parallel and headed north. The UN High Command and General MacArthur believed that they could end the war before Christmas. But on October 19th, the Communist Chinese force entered the war. The Allied forces had to pull back from the Cheongshan River.
당시 미군이나 한국군은 중공군이라는 것에 대해서는 잘 전술도 알지 못했고 어떻게 대처해야 할지를 몰랐습니다. 그 상황에서 미 8군의 후퇴를 엄호하는 과정에서 군우리에서 2사단의 3분의 1이 전멸한다고 할 정도로 엄청난 피해를 입게 되죠. 군우리 전투가 큰 희생을 치르긴 했지만은 중공군을 막으면서 8군이 후퇴시키고 다시 반격할 수 있는 기회를 마련했다는 데서 2사단이 특히 중요한 역할을 했고요.
The Allied forces were unfamiliar with the tactics of the CCF. The appropriate mixture of psychological warfare and both conventional and non-conventional warfare by utilizing the rugged mountain terrain proved to be an adversity. The first severe winter of the Korean Peninsula was as tough as the battles.
Some of the chutes didn't open, so the stuff would come down and bounce on the frozen ground.
Oh yeah.
And they had many tents full of wounded. I had frozen feet. I didn't really realize it until I went to the Veterans Hospital.
Above all, it was painful to face death on the battlefield.
When you see bodies stacked up, you know you've done your damage, and you just come back and fight some other day. Everything was leveled. There was nothing there. See, and that's a sad part about it.
All I did was, they said, don't get too close to the guys because it's too hard to lose your friends. So I understood that after a while.
After the CCF joined the war in October 1950, the front line had been continuously pushed down south. In January 1951, the UN troops counterattacked, but the CCF launched a major offensive in February. However, the CCF failed and decided to break through somewhere else, which was Chipyong-ni.
이쪽이 주먹을 먼저 뻗었는데 한 박자 느리게 중공군이 카운터 펀치를 날린 거예요. 그 카운터 펀치가 어디에 맞았냐면 바로 유엔군의 배라고 할 수 있는 횡성 지역에 맞은 것이고, 이 부대들은 원주 방향으로 후퇴를 합니다. 이 상황에서 지평리마저 뺏긴다면 돌파구가 깊이 파이게 될 수밖에 없는 것이거든요.
The 23rd Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division was stationed here at Chipyong-ni, 30 kilometers away from the division headquarters. We're stationed here for guard and alert rather than defense. However,
포위되면 모두가 전멸될 위험이 있으니까 여주로 철수를 하겠다고 연대장인 프리먼 대령이 건의를 해요. 그래서 미 10군단장 알몬드 장군도 승인을 하죠. 그런데 이때 미 8군 사령관 리치웨이가 안 돼, 사수해라고 얘기를 합니다.
if Chipyong-ni fell, the Central Front would be gravely threatened. A circular defense position with no exit was built. It was either defend or die. There was no other choice.
그 이튿날 아침에 일어나니까 피난 갔던 사람이 이제 올라와 도로 들어와 애들이고 이제 전부 짐꾸리를 하고, 그래서 내가 이제 그때는 이제 여보시오 왜 피난 안 가고 도로 들어오시오 그러니까 지금 못 나가요. 저 밑에 떼국놈들이 우글우글 그래요. 포위된 거야 이제 그때부터. 그래가지고 이제 전투가 시작된 거지. 그래가지고 3일 동안 밤낮 했지, 밤낮.
The CCF came from everywhere, 5,400 in total. The 2nd Infantry Division troops and French battalion had to face 30,000 Chinese troops, 6 times larger in size. On February 13, 1951 began the fierce battle, which lasted until the 16th.
The nighttime when the attack started, yeah, they come screaming at us like bonsai attacks that the Japanese did in World War II. And they tried to overrun us, but we had plenty of firepower and they were able to stop them, sometimes right in front of our foxhole.
We felt very confident, because of this, the tightness of the perimeter and our leadership. We had great confidence in Colonel Freeman.
Colonel Paul Freeman got wounded by the enemy's shell attacks. However, the colonel refused to evacuate and fought with his men to the end.
그래서 대령 그 사람이 내 부대에 내가 여기 데리고 들어왔으니까 난 내 부대와 같이 투퇴한다. 안 가.
We were very lucky to have the air support. They dropped in supplies, and they also strafed and bombed the Chinese positions.
The CCF advanced and retreated 8 times with its human wave attack. The Allied forces fought against the CCF, and they were determined to die.
애들 그 죽은 게 제일 서글프지. 그래서 지평내에서 내가 날른 환자가 죽어도 몇십 명 돼. 그 겨울이거든, 2월달. 그러면 한 놈 쌓고 그 다음에 또 가면은 딱 깡깡 얼어가지고 말이야, 겨울이니까. 그래가지고 그 창고에 잔뜩 있었다고. 그리고 부상자는 후퇴를 못하니까 아주 중상 아니면 다 총을 갖게 했어. 만약에 적이 넘어오면은 싸우다 죽어라고.
지금 이 앞에 보이는 저 산들을 중공군은 먼저 점령을 하죠. 그리고 횡성을 점령을 하고 나서 이 산을 점령을 하고 지평리 일대를 포위한 후에 지금 우리가 현재 있는 이 고지 일대를 공격을 해오죠. 지금 이 바위에 보시면 그때 당시에 이제 총알 자국이 남아 있거든요. 이쪽으로 와서 한번 보시죠. 지금 이쪽에 탄흔을 분석을 해보면 밑에서 공격해오던 중공군의 탄이 바위를 치고 나간 그 자국이 보이고, 또 이제 이쪽 오른쪽을 보면 저쪽 산 위에서 지원 사격을 했을 때 기관총 탄으로 판단되는 그 탄의 피탄 흔적이 이쪽에 보이거든요.
They secured their grounds with massive firepower. On February 13th only, every mortar had fired 250 rounds on average. The battle went on for 4 days and nights non-stop. The CCF had estimated 5,000 casualties. Compared to this, casualties of the Allies were a total of 353, including 52 dead. The Battle of Chipyong-ni was the first battle that the U.S. troops gained victory after the intervene of the CCF. And at the same time, it was a victory that changed the phase of the Korean War. However, numerous battles continued on, and on July 27, 1953, after 3 years of war, the Korean War ended with a ceasefire. Thus, a year later, on August 1954, the 2nd Infantry Division returned home. During the Korean War, the approximate number of warlords, wounded, missing, and captive from the UN troops altogether totaled 150,000. Among them, 130,000 were from the United States. The 2nd Infantry Division lost 24,000 soldiers during the Korean War. Being recognized for their contribution to the Korean War, 20 members of the 2nd Infantry Division earned the Medal of Honor. Today, the Korean Peninsula remains divided by a 248-kilometer-long military demarcation line. A demilitarized zone, DMZ, of 2 kilometers each north and south is set up around the military demarcation line. The Joint Security Area in the DMZ, JSA, is the only place where the South Korean troops and North Korean troops stand face to face. With tensions increasing on the Korean Peninsula, the 2nd Infantry Divisions returned to South Korea on July 1, 1965, to protect the DMZ and deter military aggression from the north. In the 1960s, North Korea continued its provocation against the South, tallying up to more than 1,300 incidents and increasing tensions. This was followed by direct attack towards the U.S. troops. The whole country, including the MDL, was involved.
비무장지대 내에 있는 유엔군 관측소의 침입, 돌연 수류탄 공격을 가하는 바람에 유엔군 병사 1명이 죽고 다른 1명이 부상을 입었습니다.
1967년 8월 미군 부대 식당을 습격, 20여 명의 사상자를 내게 한 만행.
There was also an attack on a U.S. patrol car. It was moving for a shift change.
우리는 무방비지 권총 하나만 가지고 있었는데 얘네들은 기관총하고 소위 수류탄을 던지면서 그랬으니 이 사람들 총 맞은 거 여기 아머 자켓 위장복에 그 총탄 흔적인데 막 벌집 쑤셔놓은 것 같아. 그러니까 살 수가 없는 거야. 그렇게 해서 그냥 현장에서 즉사하신 거예요.
2 U.S. soldiers and 2 Katusas were killed on the spot. 2 more U.S. soldiers were wounded. Then, on August 18, 1976, the already strained peace was in the danger of being disrupted due to one tree. A poplar tree obstructed the view to the guard posts on the other side of the bridge of no return, so a total of 11, including 2 U.S. officers, went down to branch out the poplar tree. At that moment, the North Korean troops appeared.
그 북계 그 박철희가 보나페스 중대장을 낭심을 구두발로 찼어요. 그게 신호탄이에요, 쉽게 얘기해서. 그때 이제 그 저들 작업하기 위한 도끼니 그걸 갖다 놨는데 그걸 가지고 그냥 동시에 그냥 그거를 날라온 거예요.
More than 30 North Korean troops ambushed them with axes and weapons and walked away from the scene leisurely. This action took less than 4 minutes. The surprise attack from the North Korean troops ended with deaths of Captain Boniface and First Lieutenant Mark Barrett.
We were at the helipad across the street from our compound. That's where one helicopter landed, and it took the body of Captain Boniface. He was killed. Lieutenant Barrett died en route. Now I knew Captain Boniface because Captain Boniface was the commander of the in those days it was called the JSA compound. Today it's called Camp Boniface. And good man. Sad part, and then you talk about feelings. He was doing the last thing that he was supposed to do prior to leaving Korea to go back home to his wife. That was his last detail. He was taking...
Captain Boniface had 3 days until his ETS, and First Lieutenant Barrett had been at the JSA for only a month. This attack once again drove the peninsula to the brink of a second Korean War.
And I said, how serious? And they says, break out the ammunition. That was the first time I've ever heard that order given over my 17, 18 months in Korea.
So sleep did not happen all that much. There was a lot of preparation, there was a lot of fear, a lot of getting their things in order, writing letters home.
3 days later, UN Forces Commander Stilwell elevated the defense condition to 2 and carried out the poplar tree cutting. Operation Paul Bunyan. It was an operation named after the great lumberjack from an American fairy tale.
It was raining lightly that morning, and I can remember thinking to myself, well, this might be my last day on Earth, and I don't even get to see a sunrise.
The scary thing for me was that as I looked at those plans, they didn't really seem to involve our company, Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 9th Infantry. Apparently, the belief was that we would not survive the initial encounter with the forces from the DPRK.
We didn't know, any of the other parts of it. We just knew the part that for our battalion and our infantry company that we were going in, and of course everyone was, very concerned because it was obviously a serious situation, and also the feeling was that, okay, we're probably going to be involved in the first battle of the Second Korean War. We were not armed, we didn't have our regular rifle set. Everybody had their flak vests, protective vests, and we were carrying axe handles and pick handles, wooden clubs like this.
In case of the worst, 3 aircraft carriers, a squadron of F-4 Phantom, B-52 strategic bombers, F-111 fighter bomber were deployed to the Korean Peninsula. "42 minutes after the engineers were put in action, the tree was cut down, but the anger toward North Korea's provocation did not calm down easily.
당시에 안보 보좌관이었던 키신저 장관 같은 경우는 이거는 너무 약하다고 계속 더 강력한 대응을 주장했다고 하고, 북한이 어떤 반응을 보일 때는 황해도를 북진해서 일부를 점령해 버린다거나 일부의 북한 기지를 공습한다거나 이런 여러 군사적 시나리오가 준비되어 있었는데,
After this volatile situation that almost caused the outbreak of the Second Korean War, Kim Il-sung expressed regret for the event and promised to prevent a recurrence of such action. Going through such incidents in the need of a high ROC-US cooperation, the Combined Forces Command was founded in 1978. This became a foothold to cooperate rapidly and prepare an immediate reaction when North Korean provocation occurred. Those who served in there on that day, even at different times, spent their youth in Korea. The memories are not forgotten.
And here are these guys with AK-47s watching them, making sure that they don't come south. Into that section of Panmunjom, there was nobody there. I was expecting the North Koreans to be locked and loaded and ready to shoot at us. And
Wayne Johnson still carries a special souvenir today.
This right here is the piece of the tree.
Oh, really? That tree?
Of that tree. I was sent to the JSA to bring back a bigger piece, and I took a small piece for myself.
In 1992, the 2nd Infantry Division moved out of the JSA. Afterward, the UN forces commemorated CPT Boniface by continuing the mission in Camp Boniface. First Lieutenant Mark Beret, who died in a faraway land, returned home and was buried here. The DMZ was at the very least a device for a lessening of tension. It was a strategic death due to the jeopardy of peace. Camp Red Cloud. This is the 2nd Infantry Division's headquarters. The 2nd Infantry Division is the only U.S. division permanently stationed overseas. The 7th Division moved due to the American restationing and military downsizing strategy in 1971. As such, the 2nd Infantry Division became the only U.S. combat force to watch North Korean forces and work with ROK Army. Of the 100 years history since its founding, the 2nd Infantry Division has spent 52 years in Korea and became the foundation for the strong ROK-US alliance, playing a major role in the strongest alliance throughout history. And that history becomes special to each and every member of this unit.
And to be back here in the Republic of Korea, where my father and my uncle both fought during the war. My uncle, in fact, was wounded somewhere between Uijeonbu and Pocheon. So to serve here in that area and in this division, it's been magical. It's really been the highlight of my military career.
83 division commanders that passed through the 2nd Infantry Division and 40 heroes throughout the 100-year history. Inside the next portion of their history lies the 2nd Infantry Division soldier.
Sure, I can tell you about the sophisticated weaponry that we have, the magnificent tanks, armored fighting vehicles, helicopters, artillery pieces, rocket launchers. But really, I would tell you that the most powerful weapon that I have are the men and women, both ROK and US, that serve in the combined division. It's the mind of the soldier dedicated to the defense of the Republic of Korea, here forward stationed every day, ready to fight tonight. That, my friends, is the ultimate weapon.
The ultimate weapon of the ROK-US alliance are the soldiers of both countries. The close tie between the two countries is reaffirmed by the Katusas. As a member of the ROK Army, they share their daily lives and exercise.
I rate it second to none. And why do I say that? It's because this is the only division in the United States Army that is a combined division. We are one team, and we are ready to do anything as a team.
Katyusha, Korean augmentation to the U.S. Army, was founded in July 1950, right after the start of the Korean War. They were attached to each division and fought in the war alongside the U.S. troops, supporting the mission by overcoming the foreign climate, geography, and culture.
They helped me a lot when I was in combat, especially they used to carry my ammo, my grenades up the hills, so we go up to attack. They were really nice, very helpful. The RKO was really great. Wonderful people.
The strong bond between the Korean troops and the 2nd Infantry Division troops was reaffirmed during the dispatch to the Iraq War in 2004. In August 2004, the 2nd Combat Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division, was stationed in Iraq alongside Korean troops.
The Katyushas, I had 4 Katyushas during my time that worked for me, strong bonds with the Korean national people and as guests in Korea. Just great time, great people, wonderful, fun-loving, peace-loving people.
They were wonderful friends. Probably my best friend was a Katyusha. And this is a shout out to Chipyong. If you are out there, you are probably about as old as me.
한국군과 미 이사단의 강력한 동맹의 바탕에는 국적을 뛰어넘은 전우회가 자리하고 있다. 그런 전우회를 바탕으로 2015년 6월에는 한국군과 미 이사단 전력이 함께하는 한미연합사단이 창설됐다. 양국 역사상 처음 이루어진 한미연합사단은 모든 훈련과 작전을 함께하는 한미동맹의 상징으로 발돋움한 것이다.
연합사단은 한미동맹의 창끝 전투력입니다. 그래서 최첨단 부대에서 한미동맹을 강화시키고 또 한미가 연합훈련을 강함으로 해서 북한의 도발을 억제하고 북한의 도발 시에는 강력하게 응지할 수 있는 태세를 저희들은 준비를 하고 있습니다.
유사시 미 이사단 예하부대와 한국군 1개 여단으로 편성되는 최강 화력의 연합전투사단. 한미연합사단은 한반도 전쟁 억제와 평화 유지의 강력한 방어 체계가 될 것이다. 지난 7월 미 이사단장 이취임식이 열렸다. 시어도 마틴 소장은 한국에서 2년 3개월 동안의 임무를 모두 마쳤다. 이번이 3번째 한국 부임인 신임 데니스 맥킨 소장. 인디언 헤드 100년의 역사가 새롭게 시작된다.
To the people of Korea, we'd like to thank you for your hospitality, for the warm reception that you provide our soldiers, and to let you know that it's our honor to serve shoulder to shoulder with your soldiers in defending this great nation. We look forward to the opportunities to continue to grow this relationship for the next century. 감사합니다.
1965년 한국 주둔 이후 미 이사단이 한치의 흔들림 없이 추구해온 한반도의 평화유.
Whatever happens, the United States will be a partner.
The U.S.-ROC alliance is just it's phenomenal. You know how long it's been around.
I definitely think the U.S.-ROC alliance should continue in the future.
Throughout the Indian Head's 100 years of honor and pride, more than half of it has been shared with South Korea and the ROC forces. From the midst of the bombardment during the Korean War through the state of tensions at the DMZ, we fought together following the words, "We go together." Kapchi Kapshita. And now, the ardent ROC-US alliance will be continued on by the ROC-US Combined Division forever.